think this is my favorite card of the set.
Holy shit.
My
Bruce, we
favorite.
are the most different people in the world. What's up, nerds? CJ here. Today, I'm posting an Arthurian Legends spoiler tier list with Bruce from Golden Eagle Cards. This is going to be the longer version, lots of banter. I really hope you guys enjoy. If you want the shorter version, then check out Bruce's channel, Golden Eagle Cards, on YouTube. Otherwise, enjoy, guys.
Starting off with Hinterler Sprites. What does it say? I can't read it.
The Hider Sprites, Genesis, name a spell. Spells with that name can't be cast until your next turn. 2 mana, 1 air threshold, 2 power.
I'm going B, or because it's like a tempo thing, but also you have to know the cards in their hand, or you can like blind name. You got to put a little extra work into doing it, but it can be very punishing.
Yeah, I actually have it at B as well. You can like build around it, and you can do things like building it in air fire with what's the scout? Swiven Scout.
Swiven Scout, yep.
So you could do like a Swiven Scout denial deck, but I also think that it's just really good because you can blank their removal, right?
Oh,
So
you
if
can
you're
just
like,
you can just name Barry or something.
you can just like, yeah. So imagine if you're like, okay, I can deal the most damage if I attack in this manner, but this leaves me way open to Earthquake. I'm just gonna name Earthquake, and that way, if they don't have it, whatever. But if they do have it, I'm safe for a turn, and I'm gonna get to like do this amount of damage again next turn, essentially. I think that it could be really good there.
So blind naming a removal spell could be really good.
Yeah, or like, okay, can you imagine if you're playing against my Ragnarok deck and I have all of my sites out except for the one that I need, and you're just like, Amazon Warriors. I'm like, you
Oh,
piece of shit.
so it's good combo disruption, almost too.
It's good combo disruption. It's good removal disruption, and honestly, like with common sense being so common, no pun intended. But they'll be like, okay, common sense for Amazon Warriors, and you're like, fine, Amazon Warriors, or like common sense for grapple shot, and you're like, cool, grapple shot. And they're like, you're a dick. You're like, you get some information from them, and then you can kind of blank whatever they're going for.
I think it's still a little niche. It's like it's good. If it's good, it's really good. If it's bad, it's just kind of a 2-2 for 2. Like, eh.
That's kind of how I have this like ordered on my end. Is just I have B as like just good and solid.
Mm-hmm.
Like S tier is obviously like premium. It's better than anything. A tier is like super good. B is solid. C is like it's niche, but it's playable. And then D is please don't.
Just don't. All right.
Just don't.
We got Sir Tristan. Is that the name of this?
Okay.
What does he do? He's got a lot of words.
Sir Tristan he's 5 mana. He is 2 air threshold, a fire, and a water threshold, which makes him a little bit difficult to cast. He's a 2 power, 4 toughness, and he is once in your turn. Sir Tristan may tap target nearby enemy minion. The enemy doesn't untap the next time it would. So he like does stun counters.
Yeah, he puts a stun on a minion. Like,
yeah.
Would you rather just remove the guy? 5
Well, you would rather just remove the guy.
But this is repeatable. But he just dies. He's got a weird threshold. C.
C. Okay. I actually have him as A.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So I think that he would be even more powerful, except he's hard to cast. He's a 2 power, 4 toughness for 5 mana, which doesn't sound very good, but I think that's how they balance like his busted ability. In sorcery, I feel like sticking a minion's kind of hard, right? Like most turns, just like play a minion, remove a minion, trade for minions.
That's why he's
you never end
C.
up with like an insane. Again, I think that he just allows you to use your premium removal in certain situations, and then also have like a pseudo removal every turn. He can get rid of their attacker so that they can't threaten you with. I keep using Amazon Warriors, but that's just what I'm used to.
Yeah,
that's
sure.
my threat.
That's a good random beater minion.
But he blanks their Amazon Warriors. They don't attack you on their next turn. He blanks their defender, so you get in for the damage that you need. It's not a tap ability. This is just passive, which is why it's even crazier to me. He's not like killing it, but he's just kind of blanking their minions for an entire turn. It's like the Chains of Prometheus or something.
Mm-hmm.
It can be very powerful in tempo. And again, you're getting this ability. If they don't remove Sir Tristan, you're getting it every one of your turns. So you get pseudo removal every turn, in addition to being a 2/4.
All right, but your comparison with the Chains of Prometheus, your comparison with Chains of Prometheus, I think, is a really good one. Essentially, Sir Tristan is doing what Chains does, right?
Yeah,
but Chains is
symmetrical.
But if you take if you just like tap their thing when they draw a card, and that's all you do. Or I mean, like if that's what you're like the like chains is, I don't know. I still don't like it. It's
Okay,
yeah.
closer to. So I think he might be B.
I'll do
And
bottom of B.
yeah, I think I've been convinced that he's not as good as I was thinking. I'm just thinking that the fact that you can blank their attackers, blank their blockers, and you get this every turn is without having to tap your minion for that is pretty strong.
I
But
I,
you
I,
might be right
I,
that
I agree with the like the high end of this, but like the bottom base floor, the most you can guarantee is you play this for 5 with a crazy threshold count. Maybe you crack a mix
yeah.
to do it, and then they bury it, or they
Well, so to be fair, I think the dies to Doomblade argument works against almost anything,
yeah.
right? Like who's the most powerful? We don't even know what King Arthur is, but King Arthur probably dies to Doomblade.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. All right,
And
bottom of B.
I feel like getting rid of the it's easy to remove thing is kind of where we have to evaluate these cards because any minion in sorcery is unfortunately very vulnerable. So I feel like if you're saying, okay, so if this sticks, how good is it? And I think if it sticks, it's buying you a lot of.
Okay.
So the turn you play it, it doesn't have summoning sickness for this ability, right? The turn you play it,
You
you
get
get
the
it in for
thing.
the attack that you really want, or you'd be like, okay, well screw your big blocker. I'm gonna. And I also think he's more of a control card, right? Like
Yeah.
he's not a tempo card. He's 5 mana for a 2/4, right? You're not playing him in your aggressive decks. So if you're playing him in the same deck as you're doing like the Sealy Court, your Sealy Court's 5 power. Maybe you're like, okay, I'm gonna get rid of your blocker. I'm gonna hit you for 5, and your blocker can't attack me next turn, and he'll be a useless blocker the following turn. So you're kind of you get to pseudo tap 2 minions each turn, if that makes sense. You have the minion you tapped last turn, and then the minion you tapped this turn. So 2 of their minions every turn, except for your first, will be tapped down.
Fine.
I think he's a good control card, and I think he has to be played in something slower anyway because of his threshold requirements. And then obviously all of the knights are good with mixes, but assuming you don't have the mix, it's kind of hard to cast.
Yeah. All right, bottom of B tier. Uh,
Yeah.
what do we got here? Tim. I can't read this.
Tintagel? Tintagel? Tintagel. Gotta be Tintagel.
We can rank the assuming they do the full cycle of 3 colors with the same
Yeah.
downside. I like A
So
because
that's everything but what? Fire and that's everything but fire.
everything
So
with fire.
yeah. So water, air, and earth threshold, and it only provides mana and threshold while it's in your back row.
Yeah,
And we're assuming that they're doing a cycle of these.
that's what if we can. That's what I'm assuming. Like if you have one, you probably have the others.
I think it's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's A. I think the downside is a little sketchy. Like if you get earthquaked, you get now you don't lose your minion on this, but this is on your back row, so you maybe don't have a minion on it. They earthquake you kill 2 of your minions, and then put this forward 1 step, and then you lose a
Yeah, that
mana.
would be
It's
bad.
like it feels terrible, or somehow like Atlas wandering like off of a summoning sphere or something. But I still
I
really
think
like
it's
the
super
3
good.
color. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
this will
So
make.
there is downsides.
Yeah,
You're definitely right, but I think it's super good.
I think it's really good. So I think that's one reason I'm keeping it out of S tier. It's like you can
Is
get
because of
blown.
huge downsides.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get blown up. But honestly, like people don't typically earthquake you to move your color out of space. And this is a water threshold, so earthquake doesn't even kill your units.
But you're already playing on the back row, so you probably don't have a unit on it because usually you want to play
You're
it.
right.
Yeah.
You're right. But honestly, how often do you want to spend 5 mana to blank one of their manas for
Well,
future turns?
I'm not just earthquaking to blank their mana. I'm gonna try to like earthquake with killing something. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. But I also think, can you imagine playing this as turn one, site one?
Yes. No,
You're
that's
now
nuts.
you're on a water site, so they can't even earthquake and remove your cores or whatever. I think it's pretty good. I think we both kind of agree this is great.
Yeah. All right. Questing beasts. Oh, I think this is like the S tier minion in water now. The lethal stealth.
Interesting.
Like it's just a beater at base, and water just doesn't have that. Uh, maybe in the context of everything, maybe it's like top of A tier. But I think questing
That's where I
beasts.
have it.
Yeah, I think questing
So
beasts is really good.
yeah, I completely agree. But I was gonna tell you, so it's 5 mana, 2 water threshold, 5 power. 5 toughness. He's
Yeah.
got lethal, stealth, and at the end of your
Oh yeah.
at the end of your turn, questing beast may take a step. So I also have it as like top of A, nearly S tier.
I think it's S tier because like the free movement you get, like that can be so disruptive.
Okay, so I have it as I agree. I think it's super good. It could even be S tier. It just depends. I think S tier is a little bit crowded by some of the other cards.
Okay.
But 5 mana, 5 power, like the lethal almost doesn't matter. I
Yeah.
think the only reason it really matters is because of Lancelot. Because he's got six toughness. But he's basically an assassin that leaves like a 5 power beater behind, right? Because you're gonna lose stealth after you get it, but you can kill anything, or you can get in for 5 damage.
Hmm.
Because it's water, it's gonna be in a water deck. It's somewhat earthquake like protected, and in the end step that you can take a step that kind of gets around summoning sickness, right? So like imagine you're in like a standard format, right? So like you play this on your second site, end of turn, you advance 1 step, and you're on their like second row now. And then on the start of your next turn, you have the ability to hit like their back row. So you can deal the 5 damage straight to their face, unblockable, or you can kind of eliminate whatever minion that they're like pestering you with, like Mother of Nature, Queen Guinevere, things like that. I think it's really good. I think the only reason I don't have it as S tier is because I have some other knights and other things as S tier.
That's fair. I haven't sorted these out in my head yet. I'm just going like first impressions, so that makes
You're off
sense.
the cuff, and I S tier's a little bit crowded for me because there's a lot of good spoilers, which is why I have it as top of A. But I could be convinced it's bottom of S.
All right. Uh
But yeah, that's a boon to water for sure.
oh yeah, no water just needs a non-downside minion that can hit.
I
Um,
know, it's so good.
Keening Banshee, I think I remember this one. May cast for 0 if an allied mortal died this turn. Two,
Yeah,
four mana, 2 air threshold, 3 power.
yeah. Where you
Uh,
got it?
A tier, maybe top of B. I think like it doesn't have flying, doesn't have movement. You do get a free minion, and we've seen like things. Werewolves. Werewolves can be really good, or um, the other
Halting
free
Crones,
the other free fire threshold minion, mercenaries.
mercenaries. Okay, sure.
Mercenaries can be really good. Like just that extra minion to like
Uh huh.
kind of swarm is really good, but like not having movement or like any extra ability, I think maybe bottom of A.
Interesting. Okay, I think you're more generous with this card than I am, but I'm willing to be convinced. I have it as like C.
And C.
Like
Okay.
Eremos Mercenaries doesn't get a whole lot of play, and neither does Werewolves, right? So like think about Werewolves. It's really powerful. You can like easily sacrifice a foot soldier, get a werewolf. It's a 3 power body, which sounds good, but it's not amazing. We don't see a whole lot of play with it. And actually, the only decks that I really see it playing with right now are combo decks like the monk decks,
Yep.
or Zack Attack actually has an interesting card draw deck. Oh, I played one that's similar to you. The Geistwood deck I played.
Yep.
Werewolf gets a lot of value out of that. I think that Keening Banshee is kind of working against itself just a little bit, right? Because it's double air threshold, so
Yeah.
you
It does make.
actually still have to have that threshold.
Yeah.
And it gets you a body by making sure one of your dudes died. And so you think of the upside, yes, of, well, I can trade up, right? Like I can trade to my minion and then play this thing for free. And it's like I didn't really lose a minion. But like clearly you're going for an aggressive strategy here, because you're just trying to get bodies on the board for free, right? Like
Hmm.
defensive strategies, you've got the mana. You don't really need to do this. And so I think that you don't usually want to trade, right? You just want to get the damage in and then get another body in and get more threats in,
Yeah.
and
You want to
like
trade
you'll
profitably,
usually get
right?
outclassed. Yeah, so you're usually going to get outclassed later in the game anyway. I could see like bottom of B, top of C, but like I think that it's a body for free, but
I
in aggressive strategies, you're usually dumping your hand anyway. I don't know. I don't see it as being super strong. Um,
I see it as like, yeah, you trade something cool, but then you play another minion as the minion for turn, and then you play this thing for free, so you have a double minion turn. Like a double minion turn
yeah.
is really like a turning point in a lot of games. It's like because you can opponents can really remove one minion at a time pretty effectively, or like okay, they can respond to that. Adding a second minion to the turn is very strong.
Yeah. I think that's you're not wrong. I guess I'm just looking at it more as like if I'm playing an aggressive strategy, I'm trying to get damage in, and then you on the defense are probably removing my minions on your turn, so I'm not getting Keeney banishing out. So I have to not go for damage, go for a trade, which don't get me wrong, sometimes you do that, and then have this in hand so I can get it out for free. Like it seems fine to me. It could be better than I'm kind of reading it, but it seems fine.
All right, I'll go with bottom of B, top of C. Like I think my idea of like double minion turn, like that's the ceiling, right? Is
Yeah.
would be really good.
No, I don't disagree. You might be. Maybe I'm giving it a little bit less credit than it's due.
Yeah. All right. The round table, 3 mana artifact, must be cast to your back row whenever you cast or you summon a King Arthur or what was it, a knight or
Knight,
sirs
Sir, or Dame.
to the round table. Draw a card.
Yeah.
Oh, this is gonna be a hard one. Like the ceiling is so good of like you play a minion, what summon to the round table, so you have to summon your minion to the back row, and is a
Yeah.
3 power. So you maybe you play this on 3, you don't get a card right away, you don't do anything. Maybe this is later. It's this, yeah. I think this is like bottom of C.
Interesting. Okay.
I think the card
What? So
draw.
you think
I
it's bottom C because it's a 3 mana do nothing.
3 mana
Pass
do
turn?
nothing. You can't not do anything on turn 3. You have to do something. If you play this on turn 5 or 6, like then you're spending a card for a future card draw, and maybe you don't have enough mana to play this and a knight or a sir, and like I don't know. I think you have
Okay.
to. It's a do nothing card for a turn, and the only time this gets okay is if you can play it and then play another knight and then draw a card, but then you're still down a card, and then you still play another knight to the back row, and like you just lose so much pressure having to play to your back row.
Yeah. Okay. I'm interested. So I have it as S tier. So I don't disagree with you. 3 mana do nothing past turn feels bad, but sorcery is a little bit slower. Obviously, against something like Avatar of Air, this is really bad. Um, but I think that if you're playing the knight deck, you're playing ramp. B, you're playing air, right? Because so far, I'd say most of the knights have an air threshold in them, so you have movement abilities. So that problem of playing to your back row isn't quite as bad. Um,
I guess if
because
you,
I'm
I
playing
guess if you
Blink and
play this
flanking
in
the different
Avatar of
teleport.
Air, you play this to the back row, play knights to back row, push your knights. Like that seems
Yeah,
okay. All right.
and it's a super card draw engine where your knights are not cheap, right? Your knights are like 4 or 5, not 6. I think they're 3, 4, and 5 mana for the most part. So yes, turn 3 you're doing nothing, but hopefully you've got some sort of removal, right? Because I think you're basically playing knights and removal and movement spells. So you've got your engine going that's going to okay, play a card, draw a card, draw a card, play a card, or like turn start, draw a card, play a
Yeah.
card,
No,
draw a
I
card.
think all right. It has a like if you can not die when you play this, or like lose so much pressure or tempo when you play this, and then
Yeah,
you can keep playing knights, keep drawing cards off of the cards you play. Like, yeah, no, that's insane. But we have like
and I
sorcerer that can double draw it. Like, why do I need to put so much
yeah.
effort into drawing an extra card?
Because you can play high end cards with the round table, draw a sight every turn, and draw a card every turn. Right? Because
I just think you
theoretically,
die.
so there are what, 25 knights in the. So, okay, all right, all right. The other thing I gotta say though is Avatar of Air is super good, but if my card quality are the knights of the round table, I don't know that Avatar of Air is gonna destroy me. Because you got to think like Lancelot he can remove literally 2 minions per turn, and he comes in with like a first strike counter,
Yeah.
right? Sir Yivin is gonna buff your Autumn Unicorn, and it's gonna be like a 6 power. It's gonna be
Sir
a six
Yevon is
six.
going to be terrifying.
Yeah. So in like I don't even know what King Arthur is yet, but like once we see what King Arthur is, holy crap, Sir Pellis is absolutely busted. So like I think your card quality is so high that yes, you're taking a turn off early, but then you're drawing through your deck and you are able to hit land drops and spells, and your spells are on average more powerful than the aggro minions. Yes, I think that your risk of losing to aggro is there for sure. But like even if this wasn't in my deck as a knight deck, I might still just die to aggro because my minions are
And
4 mana plus.
it's also
All
a
the
unique, and there's no way to search this. There's no way to like manipulate. Like
yeah,
it's you're not going to see it every time, and when you do see it, it's going to be. I think it's going to be awkward.
I all right, I agree, but again, so are every night. I'm not gonna call every night mediocre because it's unique and you can't tutor it.
Uh, all right. What middle
I
of A?
no no no
You,
no. I'm not trying to say you're wrong. I'm trying to give my opinion and we can decide. So
no,
you had
no.
it as C and I had it as S.
And you did like the ability for it to win you the game like mid late game, like you draw a sight, draw a card, draw two spells.
It's
Like
gonna allow a deck that so I don't know what avatar is gonna fit best for the knights, right? We don't
mhm.
know what avatars are in the set other than witch, but if we just consider what people are saying, it's like, oh, elementalist is gonna be the nuts, right?
Eh.
Elementalist doesn't have an ability. I know, but that's what people are saying right now.
Yeah.
Elementalist doesn't have the ability to get to 5 mana without having to take turns off to draw sights, but Roundtable will allow you to do that.
All right. I'll
So
you. I think you've convinced me
assuming
to like to a higher, maybe like low to mid A tier. That's what I think.
we also, yeah, I think that's fair. We also don't know how many. What was it? It's knights, sirs, dames. Do we have a dame yet? By the
We
way,
do not. I don't think so.
interesting. So I think like in lore, I don't know. Eventually, the knights of the round table is like a whole bunch, but I think there's like 25 of them. But like 12 are pretty well known. So assuming we're gonna get 12 plus, King
Symmetry.
Arthur's 13 plus,
Yeah, 15 or 16.
uh,
Be
yeah. So we should, and we don't even know what like dames are yet.
yeah. You'll have a lot of payoffs. Yeah. All right.
Interesting. It also says knight. We don't. Do we have any knights?
Yeah. Royal Bodyguard. I think is a knight.
Okay, fine. I was gonna say like interesting. So yeah, so we've got like 20 something cards that we could hit with this. I think if you draw this in your knight deck, you are thrilled.
Yeah. All right.
But again, I don't think it goes in every deck.
We'll see where it shakes out.
Yeah, I'll be curious.
All right. We have done 6 cards and it's been 20 minutes already.
I love it.
I think we maybe we try to shorten this up a little bit. All right.
We'll see. Have you seen how long the videos are I post?
Yeah. No, I mean I post 45-minute to hour-long videos. Uh, all right. Next one we got here is Sealy Court. 6 mana, water threshold, 5 power. At the start of your turn, players draw a spell for each fairy in the realm. It's a player, so it's symmetrical. Uh,
It is. It's interesting.
At the start of your turn. So the player you play this, the player doesn't get your opponent doesn't get cards. You get cards first, so that's pretty good.
That's
Um,
not true. They get the card. They just can't play it yet.
no, I mean they don't get it on their turn. You play this, and then it's their turn. They don't draw an extra card, right?
True. True. True.
Yeah, so it's like
You're the first person who can take advantage of the card advantage.
yeah, which is good. If it said like each player at the start of their turn draws, but so it's semi-symmetrical. You get a edge for using your card first. Uh, A tier. Like I don't like giving my opponent stuff, but also water card draw kind of sucks.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think it'd be fun in the fairy deck. We'll
Okay.
see where you put it.
I have it at B.
Okay.
It's a combo card to me or control. Because I think if you don't play it, if you just threw this in a deck, it's not great. 6 mana, 5 power. Okay, that's not horrible. It's not great, but it's doable. But I think that you need basically tax effects, right? Like this would be great in a stacks deck
Oh, like
because
with
if they have
Maddening
a
Bells or
thousand
something.
cards,
Yeah,
yeah, if
but
they can have a
only play
thousand
one card a
cards, but if
turn.
they can't cast it, who
Yeah,
gives a shit?
yeah.
Yeah, so I think that we don't know what all the fairies are going to be yet, but we have the Hyter sprites, which tells us that we can tax one of their cards, right?
Hmm.
So if you're playing this in something where you can like see their hand, you can tax their best card, you can maddening bells them, you can use the witch to make all their spells cast more the next turn. I think that this is a combo control card that you have to build around, but in the right deck, it can be very punishing because you'll get all of the card draw, and then you don't care that they're getting cards because they can't cast them. It's kind of similar to like Roots. I don't care if you draw a million cards. If I blow up all your lands, you can't cast them.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's what I think that this one is. But I could be wrong. I don't know. We don't have enough fairies. I'm
And like
kind
it's
of
just a
hedging this
good
as
beater.
B.
It's just like we've seen five
It
power
is.
minions just to be good.
Yeah,
They kill
right?
things and they're hard to remove, and you're in water, so you can't just bury it. I think it's just going to be
Yeah.
a very annoying card.
Yeah, I think that it could be very powerful or pretty medium, but I think that it's a really cool and unique card. I doubt that they're not going to build synergies into the set.
Yeah. All right. I'm happy with top of B tier there. Uh,
All right.
Harassing Ruffians. 3 power, 3 mana, 2 fire threshold. Right. Units attacked
Yep.
by Harassing Ruffians can't be defended.
Yep.
I think this is my favorite card of the set.
Holy shit.
My
Bruce, we
favorite.
are the most different people in the world.
This is a wonderful, like, just a 3 power body. You're in fire, so you have extra movement effects. This is a kill spell. If you have extra movement effects, you attack your opponent's avatar at like death's door. You can kill their 2/2, and you can attack effectively. You can buff this thing. I think this is a wonderful minion. If I'm being less hyperbolic, I think it's like A, bottom of A tier, top of B, because it's just still a 3 power for 3. But the ability, I think, is just. I'm a Timmy at heart, and I just want to smack face. I just want to punch things, and this lets me punch things.
Bruce, I love you. You're so funny. I don't see it as this good, but I think we play different decks, right? I'm
Yeah.
very much a combo control player, and you're more of like a like value. I don't even know if I would call it aggro, but I'm just thinking like your premier deck was like the Earth Fire deck. That's
Yep.
like, oh, I get to remove a thing, I get to get in, I have like cheap, efficient, like powerful creatures. Very different from me. I had this as C, but I
I
could be convinced B.
I can see it. It could be C. Like it's just a minion at the end of the day, but it has a cool effect. I think top
Yeah,
of B, maybe top bottom of A.
interesting. So to me, I think on average, this is probably a 3 power minion,
Yep.
and then it has upside, but I don't know that it's great. I guess if I'm counting the Hyter sprites, I don't know. It's just like to me, it's like an Eremos Mercenaries or something, right? Like
Yeah.
or like a cavalry after you've got the charge effect, right? Because cavalry wouldn't be great, except charge is amazing just to
Mhm.
get damage in. To me, I think that yes, you're correct. This could be a kill spell, and that's amazing. But like, I don't know. I wouldn't put every stealth minion that high, right? I'd be like, oh, I like Phase Assassin because it's got Void Walk. But if Phase Assassin didn't have Void Walk, it'd be like pretty mediocre. I don't know if it'd even get played.
I think you're coming of
Uh,
like this is my playstyle to the T. Like
yeah,
just let me hit things. So that's why I
yes,
like it so much. Um,
yeah,
so yeah,
no,
I'm going on top of B tier. I still think it's.
okay,
I think it's still S tier in my head, but
yeah.
and
S
looking at
tier.
it objectively, I think it's really yeah.
No card has gotten S tier, but you're like, hell yeah, these ruffians, they're the S tier. This is my jam. Okay,
Yeah.
I love it. That's hilarious. No, I find that interesting, but I'm down.
All right. Love potion. Bearer has sacrificed love potion. Gain control of target nearby minion here. Wait or here until this unit leaves the realm. It's 6 mana steal thing.
Yeah.
I think it's S tier.
Oh, thank God. I was waiting for you to tell me it was D. Yeah, it's S tier.
No, I think I was like maybe A tier just because it's 6 mana. But also like if you get to 6 mana, the board
Is
gets
it
a
six
little.
mana?
Once you get to 6 mana, the board is probably a little clogged, and you have like stuff you're trying to deal with. If you can steal a thing and then attack with it, and then it's just yours, like you can just win off of that. Um, yeah,
Okay, hear me out. I think
you're
people
gonna
won't
do
be
dumb
surprised by this.
You're gonna do dumb combo things. I've seen you talking about this thing.
100%. Like people are not going to be surprised. Okay, so if you're on the Discord, you've already heard me complain about how amazing this card is and how I'm so excited. And I think that this is the reason that Just a Rock has been printed, which we haven't talked about yet. But okay, it's 6 mana. Yes, and honestly, I don't hate the idea of waiting until turn 6 for this because discounting it means you get less quality creatures. But whatever. But I'm building a Death Speaker deck unless something else does unless there's some other avatar that comes out that synergizes better with. But Death Speaker, 6 mana, steal your thing, amazing. Scrap Fiend, bring it back, steal your thing, amazing. Replicate, make a second one, steal 2 things, amazing.
Yeah,
Uh,
you already have
I am
your replicate Angel's Egg deck, right? Like this.
I do.
This is
I do.
almost
And honestly, having 4 Angel's Eggs is really good. But having 4 of your opponent's creatures, and it says until this unit leaves the battlefield. If you
yes.
have this on your avatar, you're never leaving the battlefield.
Yep. No, it's
Yeah,
6 mana
no.
steal thing.
This is a combo card. I think that if you are not in combo, it's kind of meh. It's like pseudo card advantage because they need to remove their own creature, right? Like 6 mana, steal your thing. Now they have to waste bury on the Amazon Warriors I stole. That's fine. I guess it's a 2-for-1 because I spent 1 card to get rid of your Amazon Warriors and your removal spell. But I think that this wants to be comboed off with. I think that artifacts are getting more powerful, which is why they're getting new ways to get rid of artifacts and actually giving us a way to banish an artifact rather than just being like, oh, I'll just bury your boulder because that's a pain in the ass for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
This needs to be banished because I'm going to copy this thing so many times. You're going to be like, holy shit, there's 2 of these in your deck, and I have to deal with it 9 times. And 9 times is not even me being facetious because of Death Speaker. Just 3 Scavenging Fiends is 6.
No, I'm gonna hate playing against this. I just know it. And then if you have some like discard outlet plus,
Oh, oh yeah,
yeah,
we've got discard outlets, but I'm just saying like there are ways for me to break this even further, but I'm not even sure I care because turn 6 is a good time for me to pop off.
yep, yeah,
Yeah, no, this is going to be amazing. I think it's S tier. I think that's the reason Just a Rock is good. And people are like, we'll talk about Just a Rock soon, but I think this is the reason that you need to have that card printed.
I also like, I don't know. I think your Ragnarok deck kind of like handles this pretty well, because the reset, you destroy everything. I understand it goes back to the yard, but if you can, I don't know. I think it's still S tier, but
Sure,
there might.
6 mana.
I think Roots is going to get real good. I think Roots is already too good, but I think Roots is going to get better.
I think Ruse is going to get banned.
Moving on here to Sherwood Huntress. 2 mana, 1 air threshold, 2 power, range.
Yeah.
D or C.
Yeah, I have it as it's really cool in draft.
Yeah.
I would have it as D. So I just don't think that it's good. But I think it'll be fine in draft. However, for all we know, they're gonna have like ranged tribal, right? Like who knows if we get like a ranged lord that buffs all your ranged units. We already have the hill what is it? Hilltop advantage, whatever that one
Yeah,
is.
yeah. It gives
Ranged
you an
units
extra
get
range.
yeah. It could be decent with other cards, but I think just on its face, it's not great.
Yeah, you play it on 2, gets violent. All right, cool.
Yeah, exactly. And the range you need to be a threat is within Violimp range.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
yeah, it's just the two mana range. Cool. It's like you said, good and limited. Weightless Squire. I think this is a good card. Comes in with Lance, has Airborne. I know it's only 1 power, but I see this as a kill spell if you have another minion on board. Like bottom of A, top of B.
Okay.
Like you can trade profitably. Like we've seen Trinket be so strong. Like
Yeah.
it's a trinket on a body and it gives it first strike. Like and then you have a little chump blocker to run around. It's 3 mana, but it also like buries 3 mana. This is a kill spell if you have another minion. I don't see it being any like a 3 power two first strike flyer that loses the power. Like that seems bad. But if you have a boss troll looking at a boss troll, turn 3, place Squire, give the boss troll first strike and +1, kill their boss troll. Now you have 2 minions on board and you're ahead. I think it's like a good kill spell.
Yeah. I think it's I have it as B as well. I think that it is really quite good. I don't think that it's basically you play this for the same reason you play Apprentice Wizard is that you want its effect, but you don't give a crap about the body other than it being a chump blocker.
Yeah.
It's slightly better than Apprentice Wizard in some ways because he has Airborne, which means he's a better chump blocker. He can block nearby as opposed to just adjacent. And he is a mortal, so great. He goes in mortal decks. He's a fairy, great. He synergizes with fairies. And I think that you're going to use him in like your knights deck, right? Because you're going to have mortal synergies there. And he's a squire. He's dropping off the lance, right? So
Mm-hmm.
like, Sir Lancelot, he hit somebody for 8 damage last turn, and I just dropped off a new lance for him to like trade up and then hit another 4 damage in afterward. He's delivering lance to your better minions, and he's able to do that with airborne and be like pretty mobile to do those things. I think he's good. Also, we haven't seen all the equipment, but can you imagine him just dropping off Excalibur?
Yeah.
right? Like he can move around artifacts. I think artifacts are getting better, and this guy can like move that stuff around. And I'm again, this is like a knight themed set. I'm really hoping for more weapons and armor outside of like Excalibur because Battlefield I think could get a
Oh
huge boost
yeah,
from this set. So if you're like play Battlefield, bring back a broken weapon, play the knight. He has a lance token. He picks up the broken weapon. Next turn, I'm gonna drop both of those things off to my frontline beater. Let's go.
yeah, fully
I'm
agree.
just thinking Lancelot Voltron.
Yeah, B middle of B tier. Like
Yeah,
yeah. All right, Camelot. Unique minions cost one less.
yeah,
S tier. The only downside here is there's no threshold attached to it. A lot of the
yeah.
knights have a lot of crazy threshold costs, um, but like we have a lot of unique minions already. They're just get them out of turn earlier, and this plus a stone like 2 turns earlier. Oh, jeez. I think Camelot's S tier.
So I have it as A tier, but I could be convinced that it's S tier. And you actually said something incorrect, which makes the card a lot worse. It's unique minions cost one less to cast to nearby
Oh,
sites.
nearby sites. All right, it's
It's
even
even
better.
better.
It's even better. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I had it as A because the unique decks that I want to put this in have a lot of threshold requirements, but you might be right. Maybe it's S.
I
But yeah,
think
nearby sites, you put this in your back row and you just
cheaply
cast your
cost
unique
things.
minions.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nutty. The upside, so like the dream scenario is turn one Camelot play a mix, turn two get out a 4/5 power or 5 mana knight.
Oh god, Camelot makes turn one and then Knight turn two. Oh, that's.
Yeah, so Lancelot is what? He's 6. So you can't get Lancelot. I know I keep bringing up Lancelot, but I'm just thinking like, okay, so who's 5 power? I don't know. That somebody good.
No, no, there's gonna be a
5
good
mana.
like even like any
Galahad maybe.
a unique. What's a good unique? Like any uniques we have right now plus a mix is still
I
very
mean,
strong. But yeah, I don't.
Ruler of Fools a little early. Oh, Mother of Nature on turn. Let's see,
3, 4,
3.
3.
Pretty
Yeah,
good.
that's
They can still bury it.
well. You're in water, so you put it on a water site and then you cut. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
I don't know.
yeah,
Camelot's really good. It's also a
yeah. Camelot's really good.
unique. So like this is just a product of the rarity like deck building
Questing
thing.
Beast. Questing Beast turn 2.
No, let's not think about that. That's not gonna happen. Um,
Questing Beast turn 2 sounds great. Let's do it. I'm in.
I think Camelot will get better in the
I think
sets to
that the
come.
threshold, yeah,
Yeah,
threshold makes it a little rough. Otherwise, unbelievable.
yeah. All right, moving on to Just a Rock. This one's controversial. People say it's S
They broke
tier
the game.
and
They
should be
broke the
banned.
game.
So obviously it's S tier. I think it's like C, maybe bottom of B.
Yeah,
It's like super situational. It's fine.
I have it as bottom of B.
I'm gonna put it in C just because we don't have anything in C
Yep.
yet. Like,
Because you won't let me put anything else in C.
well, I won't let you put anything in an S either. So, I think Just a
Uh-huh.
Rock is like fine. It's you put one of them in your deck, and you can remove a. It's a 1-for-1. If you really need to banish a love potions, it can be good. But like, I'd rather have a dispel or disenchant to deal with the ores as well. Um, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. So the internet lost their minds. If you're on Discord, I think most people were relatively reasonable about this, but it sounds like Facebook and Reddit were losing their minds about this card because they're like, "Oh no, this is gonna hose my cores and my Philosopher's Stone." Some people even said that you may as well sell your Philosopher's Stone now because it's about to go down in value. Holy crap, that's not what this card is for. The range on Dispel and Disenchant rarely matters. Bruce, you've played hundreds of games, right?
Yeah,
If you want to disenchant somebody's cores,
you just
have
have to
you
move
ever
up.
had a problem?
No,
You have to move up. You take, and honestly, it's just a cost benefit, right? If it's turn one and they have a core, you're not like, okay, I'm taking turn 3 off to move up and get rid of the core. You're like, okay, fine, they got 1 mana advantage on me. It's like they played an Imperial Road. No big deal. It's when they have like 3 cores, right?
and
Or
then you're
when they have
doing a
like a
one for
Philosopher's
three. Yeah.
Stone and yeah, and they're doing some broken stuff with their Philosopher's Stone, like passing it to Apprentice Wizards to get double discounts. That's when you use Dispel and you move up and you get rid of their thing. But like it gets rid of all the stuff that they have, right? Like if you're against a combo deck that's holding on to Philosopher's Stone and Core and Angel's Egg, you're like, cool, I'll 4-for-1 you.
Yep. And then
Just a Rock is not targeted at that.
like
I think that this is
it's
it's a banish effect, which is good. It helps you get rid of my love potion deck.
I
Which
think
makes
it's also
me so
really
sad.
good against Avatar of Air with like Devil's Egg or something like that,
Okay.
or
Yeah. Yeah.
Madding Bells. Like it kind of
Yeah.
does stuff like that because it's cheaper than Disenchant. But yeah,
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that it is there for the banish effect, and it is there for like getting rid of somebody's devil's egg that they have on a burrowed spider.
yeah.
And everyone's talking about like dropping their stuff,
No,
and
it
like
doesn't work.
yeah,
It doesn't work. You can only do
you
that with stone.
you can huh?
You can only
No, yeah, the cores.
yeah
But
the
like you could
cores.
drop your egg, you could drop your eggs. But like to be fair, there's counterplay around that too. Like I have honestly, yeah, I've definitely flanking maneuvered and stolen stuff like that before. Coin Nixie is 3 mana, 2 water threshold, 2 power. It is submerged and is a merfolk, interestingly enough. And it's once on your turn, Coin Nixie may force target nearby enemy to take a step towards her. Tap the enemy if it's untapped. You're just hovering over sea.
Yeah, like there was one that the Unland Angler kind of does that
Uh-huh.
too,
Yeah.
but that kind of sucks. Bottom C. Like
I agree. It's
the tapping of the minions is good, but like it dies to Violent, and you have to like play it
so
up.
yeah. Movement decks are cool and they're fun. And honestly, I play them not infrequently because it's a great way to teach people the game. I have like a air, water movement deck so that I can get people used to like playing around things and playing around the board. But yeah, it's not a great card. I think that the fact that it taps makes it the best version of this in the game.
Yep.
But I don't think that the decks that do this are very strong right now. So like maybe it's a problem that like the synergy pieces just aren't that good yet. Because like Guile Sirens is fun. This is just a slightly upgraded Guile Sirens with 1 less power.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't see it as being overly powerful right now. But depending on all the synergies, it could get better. But I also have it as C.
Okay. Cool. We agree on something.
Yeah.
Right, Wizard's Den, a site that draws you a card, and then if it gets attacked, you discard a card. Like
Yeah.
A,
Uh-huh.
bottom of A. Like you get the advantage, and then maybe you're playing a sorcerer, and you don't really care if you lose a card. You already kind of like win on early card advantage, but it seems fine.
Seems fine, A, huh?
Like, all right. I don't know. I think drawing cards is always good, and then you can kind of prevent the downside if you play around it right. I don't know. What do you think?
Mid to high A. So pretty similar. But I don't really see it as having a downside.
Yeah, the
So
discard
you were
can
talking about
be.
discard outlets.
Yeah.
So I think that you're in control of this card. The only if this had like a threshold attached to it, I think it'd be S tier.
Yeah.
To me, this is
Oh, is it
at
not?
worst.
It's discard a spell. It's not like discard a random spell or anything. You get to control that.
That's not
Okay.
random. You can control it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So to me, if you play this on turn 2, you can play it to the back row on the side, and it's going to be pretty hard for them to hit. Like an aggro deck is going to have to go out of their way in order to hit it.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not really getting much of a disadvantage until late game. And if you're playing this, you're probably playing control combo something that draws a lot of cards. I'm thinking something similar to the current Death Speaker shells. You can always just discard your extra summoning sphere. So that's the bottom of this. The top of this is if you want to reanimate from your cemetery, you play it as your front sight turn 2. You're like, please hit me. And the opponent is like, I don't want to give you that advantage. And you're like, no, bring it. So the aggro deck has to work around. It's like playing a bottomless pit as your second sight. They either have to work around it or accept that they're just going to give you the advantage that you want.
You just turn 2, like you said, Wizard's Den, front sight. They attack it. You discard some big bomb. Then turn 3, you play tower into Raise Dead.
Reanimate.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for bringing back my great old one.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for bringing back my Yeah, or like my what's the Lord of the Void? You're like, sweet, you don't have a sight. Let's go.
Oh,
Like,
all right. Yeah, you do not
well,
attack this turn 2. Do not do that.
yeah. No, it's gonna be amazing if you want it to be. But if you're not in that kind of deck, because again, if you're like the Death Speaker shells that we're working with right now that just really want to draw cards, just play it to your like, back row and like the side, and it's like, yes, they can hit me eventually. I'm gonna lose this card advantage. But like to be fair, they have to go out of their way to do that. So it's, I think this card is nutty
Oh,
as
yeah.
long as
It's
you
a
are
site that
putting it
draws
in
you
the
a
correct
card.
deck. Yeah, it's a site that draws you a card. No sites do that.
Oh, is this S tier? If you in the right deck,
I
or
I
that's the only
think
thing
it's
that's the only
S
thing keeping it
tier.
out of S tier is if it's in the right deck.
But like, I mean, honestly, if you throw your what's the most expensive? If you throw Lancelot in your Avatar of Air, like he's gonna take forever to do anything. So like every card should be in the right deck. I think it might be S tier
I think it's S tier
because
too.
you're playing it purposefully,
Yeah. If you
and I think it's nuts.
yeah.
I think it's the best card ever printed if it comes with Threshold.
It's the same thing with Camelot, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
maybe
Excalibur,
maybe not the best ever printed, but yeah, it's good.
2 mana artifact, a unique weapon. Bearer has +1 power for each of their elements. If they have all 4 elements, they're also immune to damage, which is a little nutty.
Uh huh.
I think it's just S tier. It's just like it's like the best uh, power buff in the game, right? Maybe top of A. You're quiet and you're scaring me.
I have it as C, but continue.
Like you play this on a caravan or some other
Uh
like
huh.
I don't
Yeah, but then
know.
you have to play a caravan with your. You're hoping to draw this as the unique with your caravan.
I don't know. I think it's great. I want I want to hit things, and this lets me hit things, and especially if I put
This
it
is
on.
so the difference between us. I love it. No, I love it. I love
I'm
that
going
this is.
top.
I love that we're not the same player.
I'm going top of B. No, top of A.
Okay.
Bottom of A. Bottom of A. That's what I'm doing.
Bottom of A. You madman.
I like it's another kill on site threat. I don't think it's gonna like break the game or like it's super overpowered, but like if this doesn't get removed, it's gonna like steamroll things. And then with all the crazy knights, it's like +3, +2. Like
Yeah. Okay. So I guess I have this in my head as three different sections. In limited, it's S tier. I think that this is going to like what the tournament in November is sealed.
mm-hmm.
I think if you pull this in a couple of nights, you practically have already won. Um,
Yeah.
it's disgusting in limited because removal's not prevalent. We haven't seen any bury effects yet. We only have seen just a rock. So like I think unless the people are pulling a bunch of rocks, like this is gonna ruin limited. It's gonna be insane. In the knight deck, I would say it's an A card, maybe B. In every other deck, it's like C.
Yeah. No,
Um,
like you're not playing this in your monocolored deck. You're playing this in like
yeah,
a 3 color at maybe 2 color at
even
worst.
even in the knight deck, I think it's fine. I just think that
Oh no, this is a straight
it,
Timmy card. I don't think this is like this is my play style of like ooh, I get stronger and get to hit things more. Like,
uh-huh.
but it's easy to play around.
Yeah,
I think it's
no,
great.
I find it interesting. I would say B after you've convinced me a little bit, but I'm down with to keep it where it is. I guess the reason I'm thinking so I'd argued earlier that Dies to Doomblade is a bad reason to not like a
Are you going to
card.
use that
But
argument
the
now?
fact that well, it's not that it dies to Doomblade, it's that Bury kills the minion and Excalibur.
Mm-hmm. You get 2 for 1.
So your knight deck, you get 2 for 1 really easily with this, and like yes, Guinevere is going to be the warrior queen that we've all prayed for, and I'm sure King Arthur will be 4 color, so like he'll be a god as well. But like Bury, get rid of your Excalibur, get rid of your knight.
This effect
That's
is
enough.
kind of like what's the Hydra that doesn't take any damage when if it's not
The
lethal.
yeah, the Surian or
It kind
something
of gives
Hydra.
that effect, and you're spending 4 to 6 mana total to do that effect for
Yeah,
both. Like, and we don't see any of the Hydra really running around, but also water's
and
kind
we
of
also
weak.
don't see flaming sword played on minions, right? Like if
That's
you're
true.
running a flaming sword and you're running a screaming skull, you're running those things. You're playing them on your avatar, and this doesn't work for your avatar. And the reason you're playing them on your avatar is because of what I said. Is like Bury just decimates you. Now if you're playing this in your night deck, you're playing a fair amount of water threshold. You're definitely running floodplains. Like maybe Bury is harder to do against you, but I think that this just you get 2-for-1 pretty often, which is kind of why I had it lower. But it's definitely good when it works.
Mhm.
It's just minions holding artifacts are very vulnerable in this game right now.
All right, you've convinced me. It's B tier, maybe bit middle or something, but yeah, I don't know. I love it.
All right,
Um,
Timmy, where are you putting Siege Giant?
it's S tier. Like it,
Agreed.
it's Avatar of Air on a stick. Like you play a minion. If it sticks around, cool. If and then you play this and you throw it at him, like oh my gosh. But a lot of minions, early minions get removed, so Siege Giant's going to be a little awkward. And then it's just a 4 power for 4. Like Sandworm is playable almost, and
It's not almost. Sandworm's great.
but Sandworm also has Berry, so it has like removal protection. Um,
Yeah.
Siege Giant, I think, is like movement. Like in my earlier like tier list or like uh, event breakdowns, movement is so overpowered.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah,
Movement's insane.
yeah,
I have it as S as well. I'm just thinking like, okay, its ability is not summoning sick, right? So
yep.
like, okay, I'm gonna play my Siege Giant on top of my kobolds. My kobolds is weak. I'm tossing the kobolds. I'm Avatar of airing my kobold. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be amazing. I agree. I think this is very powerful. When you start buffing this, you can start chucking, unicorns and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh man, a lot of your knights have lower power because they're so busted. You're siege gianting your knight into their back row, and yeah,
You can Siege Giant Sir Yevon.
yeah, yep,
Yeah.
yep,
No, Siege Giant's great.
yep.
Moving on to some bad pictures here. What's this?
Great pictures.
Stealth 3 for 3? Is that what this is?
Band of Thieves.
Band
Yeah,
of Thieves. I
it's
think
3 mana,
2 air
3
threshold.
power, stealth, 2 air threshold.
Yeah, like C. It's fine.
I think I have it as C as well. Yep, yep. It's like slightly worse than Phase Assassin, but it's ordinary, so maybe like Hamlet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's fine.
it's not amazing. It's fine.
It's good. It'll be good and limited. Uh,
Yeah, it'll be great in a little bit.
yeah. All right. Mesmerism. I think in that Moths or Adam's Enchantress control shell, Mesmerism is like really annoying because they get the 8 water threshold without much issue. Um,
Yeah.
I think Mesmerism is pretty good, but like that's the only deck I can see it in. So I think it's the only thing keeping me like that. Also, four threshold cost. Like I think the only other 4 threshold we see is in Earth, and like that doesn't get played unless it's in that Geomancer disgusting
Yeah.
Roots deck. But
Yeah.
like it's gonna be really good in the control shells, but other than that, I think it's yeah. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. No, I think it's A. It's 4 mana, so you're getting the same effect as Love Potion, but slightly stronger because your unit doesn't have to leave,
Mm-hmm.
and it's cheaper. But it's in water only. I agree. Moth has like this elementalist water control deck that relies on Island Leviathan to win. I think this is a very strong include in that deck. And again, it's kind of a 2-for-1, right? You spend this card, you get their minion, and then you also kind of force them to remove that minion with another card.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's pretty strong. I don't know how strong water control is going to be, but from the cards we've seen so far, water is better. I think Mesmerism with Sealy Court is going to be really good because again, like you're giving them all these cards, right? And then they're like, "Sick! I just drew Lancelot. Let's go!" And you're like,
And
"I'll
then you
take
take
him."
it. Yeah.
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 Oh, thank God you drew the best card in your deck. I'll take it. Thank you.
Does water get playable now?
Water's playable now for sure. Questing Beast, Mesmerism, Lancelot, Sealy Court. We're gonna see Serpellus, who I think is cracked. I
And I
think
think
water is. Is it really good? I don't know. But is water playable now? Absolutely.
and playing into water now, just with the current card pool, gets really awkward for a lot of decks because they just play berries and earthquakes, and water just throws a giant wrench into a lot of game plans right now. But it's just like the card quality of water minions is just lower, so it gets like stomped sometimes. But I think Mesmerism is
But
pretty good.
also, I think that so I think every Timmy in the world is gonna want to play the night deck, right? The night deck requires you to play some water now.
Yep.
So you're even more like water decks currently have the advantage of when they're on defense and are on their own sites, they don't get buried. But when they start attacking, they get buried. But like if they've got two water sites so they can hit their threshold, you start attacking those, you still
Yeah.
can't be buried, my man.
Well, that's
Yeah.
what I had
It's
a Aqueduct in my Avatar of Earth deck for a while for berry protection, but then
yeah.
people just started attacking my water site, and I couldn't bury. This is like that same scenario.
Yeah. Oh, I have Oasis and Ragnarok because it was just, oh, I'd love to play this right after Roots, and you can't even bury my dudes until they've hit you once.
Yep.
Yeah. Nope. I think it's gonna be. I think it's playable. I don't know if it's strong yet because I haven't seen the whole card pool, but I think it's good.
All right, Sir Yivin, you're gonna have to help me out with this one.
Yeah, I got you. Sir Yvain?
Yvain,
I think it's Yvain.
Yivin.
He's 5 mana, 2 earth, 2 water, a 3/4, and he is Lance, Genesis, choose an allied beast. Sir Yvain and his beast companion have +2 power while adjacent to each other. And power, I believe, is both. So he becomes a 5/6?
Yep.
He's
Because
a 5/6 when adjacent to his 6 power unicorn.
I think power is both, and then attack and defense is what
Yeah.
separate is. Yeah.
So at base, he's 5 mana for a 3/4 with Lance. Not bad.
Well, Lance
But
also is +1.
is Lance +1?
Yeah.
Holy shit! I forgot that. That's even better. Oh
Yeah.
my
So
god,
he's
this card is cracked in half.
no. This is like one of the best minions I've seen so far. Like 5 power. Like the threshold is a little awkward,
So
but
6/6. He's a 6/6 when he comes in with first strike, with buffing your unicorn to be a 6/6.
yeah, no, it's insane. Sir Yevon is great, and like plus, yeah, oh, it's so wonderful.
I cannot wait for Flicker to be a thing.
Oh yeah, and get multiple lances or I mean, like to reoccur lance.
This is insane.
Like
This is cracked in half. This is S. This is S. This is
this
incredible.
I think this is the best card we've seen, right? Like just, I mean, yeah, it's a 5 power, 5 mana for 6 power, or like it's the ceiling is so high. It does remove, but you're in water, so you play it on a water site. Um, like you pop a mix into this thing, and
Mm-hmm.
holy moly, like it does. It's just another big like win the game threat. But
Yeah.
I think it's the best win the game threat we've had. Like it's so good.
Yeah. By the way, hold on 1 second. Am I crazy in saying that? Oh God. So okay, so I have to say that the threshold makes this a little bit different than we're thinking, right? We're used to monocolored spells. I think that you can't really play him on curve that often. Um,
I don't.
but like the
I think
idea.
you can.
Okay.
I think you will get screwed sometimes.
Yeah.
But if you it's I don't think you play this in a 3 color deck because like you want to get this guy out on curve. You play this
Yeah.
you have a mix or two, um, but like I think
I'm trying to imagine not having the mixes because
yeah
it's rare that you're going to have this unique and that elite. But to be fair, if you're running multiple mixes and some decent card draw, you might get there. But like, yes, the dream is like unicorn mix Yevon next turn. Holy crap! But if this is a later game spell, okay, fine. Questing beast
yeah.
as your allied beast. It's a 7/7 may take a step lethal stealth.
It's like well we've seen Trinket be so good because you can trade profitably, right? Like
Yeah, Lance is cracked. What do you think of
Lance,
Lance?
I think it's great. I think it's I really don't like first strike in a lot of things, but the fact you only get to use it once, like kind of like saves it for me.
Yeah,
But I think you play this in just a 2 color deck. You don't play any utility sites. You hit your thresholds. That's your main goal, and like you play floodplain and you get 2 water threshold right there, and then 2 earth sites. You get 2 earth sites everywhere. Um, but I think Sir Yevon is great.
yeah. I think the threshold is the only reason that he might not be as good as we're saying. But holy crap, is he powerful?
You get it in
Yeah,
a weird little like mirror like minion thing. You come down, buff your stuff, attack for huge damage. Like yeah,
yeah, yeah. That's a Timmy card, and that's cracked. Yeah, he's gonna be really good.
uh,
There's no doubt about it.
all right. Sugar Plum Pixies, 2 mana, 1 threshold, 2 power. airborne at the end of your turn, untap another nearby ally.
Yep.
Uh, like top of B, bottom of A. Like the untap is cool. Airborne is good. 2 power is a little weak, but I think the airborne yeah, top of B.
But a C, but okay.
Like just for the fact that airborne is so good. Like the untap is really like you attack and leave it
Yeah.
up. And kind of like vigilance is really good. We haven't seen like vigilance as a mechanic yet. So like giving things vigilance, pseudo
Yeah.
vigilance is really good. I don't know.
It's so I have it a C, but I'm not opposed to what you're saying. It's a So Palaberry Bats gets played only really in Avatar of Air that I can think of, maybe some Death Speaker stuff. But like it's kind of a like this is an identity crisis to me. Um
Okay.
it's the 2 power flyer, which is good as an aggressive little monster that's hard to block, but this isn't going to be played in an aggro deck. The fact that you can untap things means that you're thinking about defense, right? So you're using it on your more powerful beater, like Questing Beast or something, that can then defend. So it's not like the 2 power flyer really
You're
matters
not
that
playing
much.
this on 2. You're playing this on like 4 or 5 to untap your other minion.
Yeah, but then you're playing a 2 power dude on turn 5. Like I don't
Oh,
think he's doing much.
all right.
So I
You've
think that
convinced me. Yeah.
he's pseudo vigilance, which is good. He's a fairy, which is good because you're trying to do this. And like, so that you, for example, your Sealy Court, right? This allows your Sealy Court to get in for 5 damage, then untap and be a 5 power blocker. Pretty good. But we just don't have enough information about what the fairy deck is going to do. So you're drawing an extra card because of him, and then you're untapping creatures. That's good. But like,
I think
I just
also
don't see it as being cracked. I
if
think
you
it's
play
like,
this
yeah,
in an airborne tribal kind of thing, like attack with your airborne thing, untap with it, untap it with this,
yeah,
then you have a really good defense with airborne. Like
yeah, yeah. So like, it's great with vampire. I guess I'm thinking of like, what 2 power flyers do we ever see played? The
you're,
only ones are an Avatar of Air, and it's like Cloud Spirits and Calibre Bats. But those are like hyper aggressive decks, and this doesn't fit with that.
I'm not playing this for the body. I'm playing it for the untap effect.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. We also don't see people playing Manticore, right?
Drew's Warpath deck played it, but I think that's the only one.
Yeah, I could be wrong. I think that we haven't seen enough fairies for me to know. I think the fact that it is a fairy means it goes in that deck. It can untap your Steely Court, which is great, so you have an attacker and a defender. But I'm not wholly convinced
All right, yeah,
yet.
you've convinced me. Bottom of C or top of C.
Okay.
Like the effect is really strong. The body kind of sucks. Uh,
Yeah, yeah.
Sir Lancelot, 6
D.
mana, 6 mana, 2 fire, 2 earth. What's its power? Four,
That's
four,
a
six.
4/6 with Lance.
Yeah, so it gets +1, and the first time Sir Lancelot fights each turn, untap this. Like,
Yep.
oh god.
Yeah.
Uh,
The D? Bottom of D?
yeah, probably bottom of D, top of A, maybe S tier. Like,
I think he's hard S to me.
yeah, I think it is a really good minion. It does like
Why do you think he's not S? I would love to hear it.
it's just another really good minion for at 6. Like
Yeah.
it's a great curve topper. It's like I don't know, like it dies to bury. I know that's not a good but like that's the goal of a lot of decks right now. Is just to keep removing minions, and on turn 6, you usually want to hold a bury or an earthquake. Like it's a don't get me wrong, it's like a really good minion and a really scary. If it doesn't get removed, it's going to win you the game. But we already have a couple of those, and they're already kind of just fine because they get dealt with. If this doesn't get dealt with, it's going to win you the game, but it can be dealt with. Whereas like Sir Yevon, whatever, is in water, and so it can't be dealt with super easily. I think Sir Lancelot can be dealt with easier than Sir.
Well, I think you're playing him in the same deck,
Yeah,
right? So you're right. I guess if I'm splashing for Lancelot and he's not a night deck, and I'm just playing my Fury Road with Lancelot, he can still be dealt with easily. I think that if you're saying Dies of Doomblade is a good argument for why it's bad, then like,
No, I'm not saying
sure,
I'm not
most
saying that's why it's bad. I'm just saying that's why it's not S tier. It doesn't have removal protection built in. Like Surveying has the water threshold, so you're playing it in water. Like Headless Haunt is so good because it has evasion. Like
yeah.
that's why I think
Okay.
that's why it's keeping it out of S tier because it doesn't have evasion.
Okay. All right. You know what? I'm okay with that too. Because like again, I think if I'm thinking about a different card game, I having just a huge beater doesn't do anything for me. It's got to have value when it enters the battlefield, which is not a huge like we don't see big powerful minions that get like Genesis very often or at all really.
Hmm.
So okay, fine. Maybe it's not S tier for that reason. I think this thing is cracked in half.
Oh,
If it
it's so
survives
good.
one single
One
turn,
turn you win.
holy crap.
Yeah.
He punches for 5, kills the Amazon warrior for free, gets rid of the lance, then he hits you for 4, or he's dealing you 8 per turn, or he's removing multiple of your death speaking jump blockers so that the rest of your dudes can get in, or he's so cracked. Can you imagine this dude with like a flaming sword or a whirling blades or
Yeah, no,
I'm trying to think
it's
what's
gonna be
the
insane. No,
yeah.
I'm like it's just barely bottom of S or like
No,
top of
you're right. He gets 0 value upon entering the battlefield, other than a lance token, which if you bury him, it goes away. So
yeah.
okay, fine. He's like playing just a massive beater, but God, is he a massive beater? And
Yeah.
look at his booty.
He's six. Yeah, no,
Look at his booty.
it's gonna be a nightmare. Like with Sir Yvain, like he comes down, buffs your thing, you can attack with your buffed thing. Like you get value out of him when he comes down. That's my only like,
Yeah,
and the no
yeah.
evasion for Sir Lancelot. Like that's my only detracting for
Thank,
this.
but thank God. But thank God, no evasion for Lancelot,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
holy beefy mother trucker. And again, I guess the thing is like again, you're playing this is why Camelot or not Camelot. Camelot is great. This is why Roundtable is so good though. Is like he's like late game, you've got to get all this threshold, you got to get all this mana, but like if you're drawing a card every turn so you can get your like you're allowing your like this deck is going to be so cool because you're allowing yourself to draw sites every turn so you can get to these Lancelot payoffs. So that like late game when you top deck this and we're in top deck mode, oh, oh no.
Yeah,
What do I even do?
yeah. What do we got? Sir
Is that
Galahad.
Sir Galahad?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to read this one for me.
He is a 5 mana 3/6 with 2 air, 2 earth threshold. And he says Sir Galahad strikes heal you. Nearby allies take no damage from demons, spirits, and undead.
And then
Thanks, Jeff Mengus.
he was a 3/6, right?
He's a 3/6
And then 5 mana
without Camelot.
without Camelot. Top of B, like the healing's really good. Maybe bottom of A. Like he's a good minion, but he doesn't come down and do something. I'm gonna go top of A or bottom of A.
Okay.
What do you think?
You shut your mouth when you're talking to me. He is S tier for sure.
Yeah.
Uh, I want to say yeah. Again, he has the same problem of Lancelot. Of he doesn't get major value until the turn he can do stuff. But again, this deck that I'm theory crafting right now is not an early game deck. But 5 mana, he is a 3/6, so he's really hard for aggro to deal with. He heals you. Holy
Which
crap!
is
So
really good
Avatar
against
Bear is
aggro.
a nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah, he means that you can't be hit by their spirit. Their cloud spirit can't deal damage to your minions. Their headless haunt can't deal damage to your allies. So even your face is immune to headless haunt. Their ultimate horror isn't messing with you. Like you have so much
But it's also
value
unique. You
built
don't
in.
see it every game.
I know. But again, I'm not holding that against it.
Okay.
But when you draw this against an aggro deck, like their Violimps don't deal damage to you, you
Yeah.
just blank their removal, their
Okay.
Violimp removal. I think it is so strong. Yes, it doesn't give you value the turn it comes down, so maybe that keeps it out of S tier. But like, if it gets to survive for one turn, I love it. I love it so much. I think he is so good. Like Pudge Butcher
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter. It's a demon.
Well, if they play Pudge Butcher back row, drag your thing in, like it's no longer adjacent, right?
Yeah, but I guess I'm kind of thinking that Like you're just you're getting aggressive with him.
Yeah, and so you're like have an aura of protection around you. I don't know. The healing I think is what I really care about. The undead stuff like Pudge Butcher and Headless Haunt that relies on your opponent doing something or playing or building the way you want them to build it. Like so that's like never a guarantee. So middle of A tier. I'll go with that. Uh,
Okay. I mean, Grim Reaper doesn't get to ruin your
uh,
day. What's the other option?
I,
I'm just
I
looking to
am
see what.
so excited to be proven so wrong with all of these. It's going to be awesome.
Pudge Butcher is not doing. Yeah, I'm excited. I think he's so good. But okay.
Perilous Bridge units with not no flying units or no non-flying units can enter.
Oh, it's an air site.
No,
Nice. Units can't traverse the site's top border on the ground. So yeah,
only
top
air.
border. You can come in from the side. Air units can come in from above.
Uh, like do you play this in Avatar of Air turn two site kind of thing? Kind of like
I think you do.
uh, like you have to be heavy airborne for this not to be a detractor. A tier.
A tier.
Like the cost of inclusion is so low. It's like a site. Like if you have
Are you playing Great Wall?
no, because Great Wall is no color, right, or no threshold.
Yeah, but that's the only difference. This is Great Wall with air threshold.
But like you play it in Avatar of Air, you already are playing so many airborne minions, and you just like make it harder for your opponent to attack you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's.
I have it as C, but I agree. It's an Avatar of Air auto include, and that's it. And I'm not even sure. I guess it is an auto include because it gives you both threshold and that
the little
unblockability. But I
little
think
bonus.
that Avatar of Air cares more about. I'm not even sure it's an auto include in Avatar of Air because hear me out. Yes, the ability to not get punched is good, but the reason you're playing Bottomless Pit and the reason you're playing
Is
Free
removal.
City isn't because it's removal.
Mm-hmm.
So this is filling a similar role to those in that it's a defensive site, but it's removal. And then the rest of your sites are like towers, Cloud City. You're not replacing either of those with this, and like Observatory, which
Smooths out.
maybe you replace.
No, like observatory smooths out stuff, and
Yeah.
I guess you could Rift
What are
Valley
you
this, and
cutting from this?
that's hard. Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know.
You
Playing
know,
Avatar,
I agree. It
play,
fits an Avatar of Air, but what are you getting rid of for it? Because it's already so tuned as far as those sites go.
like Avatar of Air, I've with the times I've played it, sometimes like if I don't have the defensive sites, it gets awkward, and this I feel like this kind of helps with that kind of draw. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm going bottom of B.
Okay. No, no. I also don't disagree with you. I think it's strong, and also like with the pillow fort strategies, like the castle strategies.
Mm-hmm.
I've built decks around those. They're good. This would fit in relatively well there too. Like it serves the same purpose as. Is this a units or is it minions? Units. Okay, so it. If you play this in your castle strategy, like Death Speaker, Seer, whatever, as
Mm-hmm.
your second site, it serves the same like role as Gnome Hollows against like a battle mage, right? They're not
Yeah,
gonna like grapple shot, pull you in, do X, Y, or Z to you. But it's slightly worse than that because Blink
yeah. You can
or
still get into here, which is like the
yeah,
directive. Yeah.
slightly worse. I think it's good, not great.
All right, bottom of B tier. Sir, Queen Guinevere.
Yeah.
What's her stuff?
Queen Guinevere, she's a unique mortal. She is one of each threshold. She is 4 mana for a 1 power. Once on your turn, Queen Guinevere may untap target allied minion.
So it's kind of like once on your turn, so you can get a double attack. Is it an ally, no nearby?
No nearby, so there's no range restriction, which is why I think she's better than initially thought. She
Um,
she is 1 power, so the weakness is the same things
well,
as like
it's kind of
Mother of
like I
Nature
feel like
and
she's
Queen of
kind of like
Midland.
Queen. Yeah. Um, the untapping is really really good. Like you get a double attack with Questing Beast or double attack with your Amazon Warriors. Like
Triple
that's
attack with Sir Lancelot, her
trip.
lover.
Yeah. Uh, uh, mm, the effect of untapping your attacking twice. That's what we have to grade it on. But then also 4
It's not just
threshold.
attacking twice. It's double Pudge Butcher.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Double tap effects.
Yeah, double
Top.
tap effects. Which I mean, do we have a lot of those yet? I don't know.
Not really. Topish of A tier. Like you
Top
play
Bishop A tier. Oh, can you?
color out of
I mean,
space.
I think it takes a lot of setup. But like your Midland army tap target location up to 3 steps away, deal 4 damage to it. Pretty cool.
It's a payoff card for
Rolling
sure.
Boulder, and you get something else that you can do. Train Constrictor too. Train Constrictor is tap, take a step, constrict a minion. The next time I would untap, kill it instead. So Train Constrictor all of a sudden is just a kill spell.
It's a payoff card for tap effects.
It requires a lot of setup. We haven't seen how many new tap effects we're gonna get. I think it could be rather good, but it could also be very easy to kill. But the fact that it doesn't have a range is why I think it's playable, because you're in water, so you're not getting buried. You're not going to get Vile Imped because you're playing it in your back row. And if they want to Lightning Bolt it, okay. The other thing you got to think about is it could be immune to damage with Excalibur.
Yep. And then Excalibur makes this a 5-power beater.
A 5-power beater immune to damage. And it's in water, so maybe you're on.
Oh, and you can
water
untap it. It can untap itself.
Yeah. I think that she's A. Assuming we get a couple more tap effects that are like playable, right? Because like right now I'm not playing Train Constrictor,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I'm not sure I start playing it because of Queen Guinevere,
No,
because
you don't.
like if I don't get my unique, then
You need
it's pretty
you need
shitty.
you need a deck with like 8 to 12, maybe minions with tap effects, right?
Yeah,
I
but
don't
I
know.
think that she could be very powerful.
I think she's can be very good too. We'll go E tier.
Yeah, if we get a looter, can you imagine like tap, draw a card, discard a card? If we can get like a Magic the Gathering looter effect, you can help draw through your deck. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, then she's real good. Draw 2, discard 2. I'd do that.
Sir something. I don't know this one.
Sir Percival, 1 air, 2 Earth Threshold, 4 mana for a 4/5. Genesis, an opponent chooses a site. When Sir Percival enters that site, draw a card. Then reactivate his Genesis ability. Card draw engine in Knights for 4 mana for a 4/5.
I pick my bottom left site. Go get it. I guess you play this. Oh, and you're an heir, so you have like movement effects.
Uh-huh.
A.
A
Like-
tier.
The card advantage possibility for it seems really good.
Yeah. Okay.
What do you got?
Actually, I think I left him off of mine,
Oh,
so I
okay.
forgot.
Ooh,
But
off the
honestly,
cuff.
I have him as, I think he's A to S.
Yeah.
So if you play him with a mix, there's like 3 sites out total. You're going to get a card draw, and they're going to have to pick another one. Great. If they pick one of your sites, you don't really, I mean, like, yeah, you have to walk him around. Maybe that's not good enough. If you pick one of their sites, he's getting aggressive anyway. He's a 4/5, which is pretty great. He's like killing unicorns and not even having to trade. You give him a lance, and he's killing almost everything from alpha beta without having to trade. I think you play this in a movement deck. So, and honestly, I think if you're building the knight deck in general, he's a slam dunk for that. And I think so is flanking maneuver, blink, all those things, because you're looking at Camelot, you're looking at Round Table, you're looking at things that want you to play in the back row and then get up, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think he's going to be rather powerful.
Yeah.
I think he's good. I think maybe A.
I think A tier because he doesn't get the thing immediately. That's like keeping things out of S tier is like you get value when you play it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really good.
I think he's going to be really good, though. I think he's not like absolutely cracked in half, but I think he's another engine to get this deck going.
Yeah. What do we got here? I think this is Hamlet. This is ordinary.
Hamlet? Okay.
Ordinary minions cost one less. Is this threshold or blank?
Hamlet is no threshold.
No
So
it's
it's
a utility site.
Donnybrook. It's Donnybrook in without just for ordinaries.
Can opponents cast things here?
No, it doesn't say that they can.
So it's just you.
Ordinary minions, yeah. So just you. Unless they have a summoning sphere or jihad or kusu. But that's pretty niche.
It's a utility site, but there's so many good ordinaries. Like a lot of good consistent decks are built on ordinaries. S tier, the discount you get is so good. Like towers are so good because it's that extra thing, and this is like recurring discount. I think it's S tier.
Uh-huh. Uh, what are you, 2 fluid? You playing this in your wolf deck?
It's
S
a
tier?
it is a philosopher's stone for ordinary uh, minions, right?
Okay, but all right. I'm not. I again, I don't have clairvoyance. I don't know how good this is. But what minions are you hoping to play with this?
Well,
Like, what deck is this going? Like, are you thinking
I'm seeing
like,
this as a enabler to play two things at once. Like
uh
earlier,
huh,
turn 4, you have this, so you have 5 mana. You play a boss troll plus what's another what's a 4 cost ordinary sandworm or something like it allows you to play two minions. That's like
yeah,
and towers. Where would you put
it's
towers?
cracked. Towers? I
Yeah,
think towers are great,
I think towers are S tier. I think this is almost as
but
it's like in an
I think
ordinary.
towers are S tier because they let you get any spell ahead of curve, including earthquake. I think that they give you a threshold. I think towers are certainly better than that.
Okay, if towers are S, I think this is A because
Okay,
over the course of a game, you can save 3 to 4 mana, and that's like scary.
that's a turn's worth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm lower on this card than you,
Okay.
but I am interested. So okay. I was thinking of like Avatar of Air or
It's a
Goblins, right?
it's a utility site. Like the fact it doesn't have
Yeah.
threshold is definitely a detractor.
Well, so here's what I'm thinking: Avatar of Air, Goblins. What other like hyper aggressive decks are there out there? There's not a lot, like not a huge amount, but a lot of the hyper aggressive decks, they're low mana cost creatures, which is why that are playing mostly ordinaries, right? But they're already able to get most like to dump their hand pretty early. So I'm not sure how much more utility this is, right? Like you need to get Avatar Bear needs 2 threshold, so you're not playing this until turn 3 minimum, and then you're already able to get out a lot of your cheap ordinary minions by turn 3 anyway, basically all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So your Pegasus becomes 2 mana instead of 3 mana, unless you've got like Pegasus bats, then it's not doing much. Pegasus bats would work with Hamlet, and it wouldn't work with a tower, which is like a buff there, but I think that the hyper aggressive ordinary minion decks are not getting the most value out of this because they're already able to dump their hand. They're already
Yeah.
built in a way to
Okay.
play 2 minions per turn. I think well, I'm not saying that you're wrong though. I think that the so I'm looking at any minion in alpha beta only, right?
Mm-hmm.
Alpha beta minions ordinary. They're almost all 3 mana or less that are played, right? You got Amazon for 5 that is played. You've got Highland Clansman for 7, which you're not playing really. Trojan Cavalry for 4. Okay, that's pretty
Yeah,
good.
that's pretty
Pirate Ship
good.
you're never really playing.
Yeah, cavalry on
Roaming
3.
Monster you're never really playing. Sandworm you are playing. This could make zombies playable, and that's it. Everything else is 3 mana or less.
I'm
That is
expecting.
played.
Well, like harassing ruffians. I bet there's going to be some good ordinaries.
Yeah, but I guess my point isn't no my point isn't that those are the only ordinaries being played. Plenty of ordinaries are being played, and actually in Death Speaker, they're a little bit threshold greedy. But if you're like Apprentice Wizard for 2, draw a card, Apprentice Wizard for 2, draw a card, Land Surveyor for 1, like draw a site, that is good. I think that this is decent. I think I've convinced myself that it's B. I don't think it's A. I think that like Death Speaker could get a lot of value out of it, but they want the threshold.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the aggressive decks are probably able to already dump their hand. So I'm not sure. Like if you're a sorcerer and it's turn 5 and you've got 4 or 5 sites, like you're just draw tap draw, and you can probably play 2 minions anyway.
Yeah.
Like if you're playing the hyper aggressive goblins deck. But I guess I could be wrong. Again, if you're a
I'm just thinking
density of threes,
discounts
okay,
are so good. Like
you're right.
saving mana. There,
Yeah,
there's going to be something broken with it.
we can leave it there at A because again I don't know. I think the aggressive decks won't get as much value out of it as they would want, and the less aggressive decks don't care that much. I think Death Speaker could crack it because the Death Speaker engines are all ordinary,
Mm-hmm.
but it's also a threshold greedy deck. I don't know. But yeah, I think it's decent. It's like Donnybrook in, but the enemy can't cast there, but it only counts for ordinary. So okay,
Yeah,
I don't hate it.
I like discounts. Discounts are good.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, Wishing Well, I can't read.
Oh, it's not Wishing Well. What are you talking about?
I don't know.
It's the Poisoned Well.
It's
Poisoned
Wishing
Well
Well.
is a fire threshold. It's exceptional. It's a site, and it says Genesis enemy avatars lose 1 life for each nearby site they control.
Nearby avatars or enemy avatars?
Enemy avatars nearby sites. So every site
So
nearby where
max
you
this
place Wishing Well.
comes down deal 3.
Yeah, pretty much.
Whew, like it's a lightning bolt on a land.
Yeah. So, yeah.
S-
I doubt you're getting there. I doubt you're getting there for 3 though.
I think A tier. You can at least get like come down deal 2. And you put this in a
Yeah.
witch deck where you're like pinging for 2 constantly, like ugh.
Yeah. I think I might have had it as B, but I could be convinced A easily because
It's just free
if
damage.
you're yeah, it's an aggressive deck card.
Hmm.
Usually, I'd say. The reason I don't think you're getting 3 very often is because you're playing it probably like if you're an aggressive deck, you've
Yeah.
probably stopped playing sites by the time they could be hit for 3. You could do some crazy shenanigans where you like Atlas Wanderers a site to the back, and then you play this in their back row that they haven't played in, and then you hit them for like 4. But I don't think you will. So I think it's a deal 2 damage. But like if that Avatar of Air fire variant gets more powerful, this is a free deal 2. It's a loss of life though, right? It can't kill.
Yes.
Okay. So it's a free get them closer to door. It gives you threshold. I think that's why it's probably A. It's just good. In the decks that want it, it's free 2 damage, maybe 3. In the decks that don't want it, I'm just thinking about Mirage now. That'd be so funny.
Yeah, no, it's. I think it's the fact it's on a land. Come down, deal
Yeah,
2.
it's just a land, right?
Yeah,
It's the cost of inclusion is so low. If you don't care that much,
and
you
you
can
get
just
two. You
drop
get
it in
two
your
of
back
these
row.
in your fire deck.
It's exceptional. You can do 3.
Well, I mean, like maybe you're not going to see 3 in a game. I don't think, but if you
No,
see
no,
like seeing 2 is not unreasonable, and you deal 4, like, and then
just for
plus,
playing your fire site.
yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, how often do you play like a desert and it doesn't do anything for you, or you play smokestacks just for the threshold because you needed that turn?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just a land, right? Cost of inclusion is nothing, but it does free deal damage to the face. I think that the Witch Burn deck is gonna love this, right? Because you're like,
Yep.
okay, play my thing, deal 2 damage, tap my dude, deal 2 damage, and Vile Imp, deal 2 damage. You're like, Jesus, 6 damage for 2 mana.
You're just like calm down.
Yeah, no, I think an aggressive deck is gonna be cracked.
Yeah. Sir Percival? Yeah.
Sir Pellis.
Sir Pellis. 3 mana, 3 threshold, 3.
3 mana, 3 thresh. It's air, water, water. It's a 4/3 submerge. Move freely between water locations.
That's different than water sites, so you can flood their
I'm
stuff.
so glad you picked up on that. No, it's
Yeah.
better than that. Play him submerged, then bring him up, move him to the front, and then attack.
Oh,
Because his locations. It's
so he
not
has the
sites.
evasion, right?
He has evasion, built in.
Built-in evasion. A versus S. Which one you want? Which one are you thinking?
I still have him as A rather than S because he has. I think he's hard to play on curve. Air, water, water is not the easiest unless you're in a 2-color deck. And again, I
Floodplain.
think he's great in the night deck. You play him submerged, you bring him up, and you move up and you attack all in one turn. That's amazing. But he's 3 mana for a 3 threshold. That's kind of hard to get there. But he's a 3 mana 4/3 with evasion.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's cracked.
I think it's really good. Yeah.
I think he's so strong.
He's a free defender if you have that kind of attack, but then you can also attack
Yeah.
with him. Yeah. I think this is going to be really good in the elementalist
Weightless
list.
Squire bringing him a lance. He's hitting for 5 without even losing. Oh, he's so good.
Yeah. Next one I have as Wizard's Den again, but we already did that one. Valleys, so we'll use this as like all of the new basic draft sites. D tier.
Backdraft.
Yeah. They're really
Yeah,
cool.
agreed.
They're really pretty, but they're like fine.
Beautiful, but yeah.
The new 4-color thing, I can't read it.
Valley of Delight. It's elite. and it says Genesis, choose one. This site provides that permanently. Any threshold.
Oh, S tier.
Yep. Easy.
Yep. No, that's great.
Easy S tier.
That's two in
It's
every single deck. I don't care.
yep, I agree.
I don't care what you are. You play that,
Yeah.
or I guess in any
I
non-mono color deck.
Any 3-color deck for sure, 4-color deck 100%, 2-color deck mostly, but like you might be able to. We have like a good amount of mana fixing now,
Yeah.
where maybe the utility site gets the nod, but otherwise, I don't know. It might maybe even every 2-color deck. I think it's S tier.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
No, I think it's S tier. Like I play two of these in my Avatar Earth deck because
Yeah,
sometimes
absolutely.
I just need the one fire, or I just need an extra Earth to be a little more powerful. I think, yeah,
Yep,
yeah, S tier.
correct. Yep.
Witch, our only Avatar. This is a scary one because we're betting on how good the Witch deck is going to be. Um,
Yeah, that's a good question actually.
I've played against a little like mocked up Witch deck before. The ability to just ping for 2 after turn 4, it's just like free 6 to 8 damage. Like it's half your life in a burn deck.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
god. And then you also can do this in maybe a control shell with like the tax effect, and then it just shuts off Battle Mage so easily. I think it's going to be an S tier Avatar.
I think it's A, but S tier is definitely possible as well because we're betting on a deck I haven't seen.
That's a good point. We'll put it in A.
So the reason I think it's A is like there's no card advantage, which I think is the most powerful ability.
Mm-hmm.
Its ability is not tap. Sorry, its ability is to tap. Right.
Yep.
The
And
current S tier decks have passive abilities. There's no tap required.
yeah.
So like Avatar Bear, you can just shove a thing, and then like you can attack yourself, or you can tap and get a sight, which you might need later. Seer, same kind of thing. I think in Death Speaker, same kind of thing. I think the S tiers are passive abilities, which having 3 active abilities is nutty, and it might be, I guess, is that 5 active abilities then? Jesus, is insane.
Yeah.
But you're turning yourself off to the late game, right? If you're trying to play any cards greater than 5 mana, then
Yeah. That's fair
you're
play.
not using your ability. But yeah, being able to ping for 2, incredible. Being able to like which stacks, if you give them maddening bells turn 4, then you do like tap on turn 5 just to make all their spells cost 3 more. Like their hand is unplayable. I think that it has really high upside, but if you're against somebody who heals, so
Ooh,
you're
yeah.
running Divine Healing, you're running
I
Sir
think healing gets a lot better. I think people need to play more healing.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you're playing enough healing, like, if they're able to heal through the turn, then your witch deck is just completely sunk. I think if a healing deck with like vampires and the knight that heals you and, you know, angel's eggs, divine healing, there's a lot of healing actually, Jesus. But
Maybe we
I
just.
think
I want to
if
brew a
there's a
healing deck
healing
now.
deck, if there's a healing deck, I think witch is literally unplayable.
Yeah,
So it just
like
depends on the
Angel's Egg
meta.
just blanks Witch, right?
Angel's egg just blanks witch, and I mean, honestly, just a rock still doesn't deal with it if you put it on a spider and you drop it. I
Are,
don't know if it's even B though, because you're counting on drawing either an elite, an exceptional, or a unique, right? Or I guess vampires are also 3. Okay, no, the healing deck can blank this, but the healing deck hasn't been made yet.
yeah. So
I think it's A or B,
yeah, we'll go middle A, and then the last one
but it's
here,
good.
Wyvern. I think it's a
It's double Earth Threshold. It's 6 mana for a 5 power airborne.
uh, an Earth. Your like Geomancer plays this. I don't.
Yeah,
Avatar of Earth doesn't play this. I think.
literally the deck you're running right now in the top cut would love this deck card.
Yeah,
It would lose its mind for this card, but I think it's B.
I think it's B. I think Airborne makes it A.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. In the deck that is able to survive and get to 6 mana, it's really good. I mentioned the deck that you're running in Top Cut, which is the
I'm
uh
knocked out. I get knocked out in an hour.
you get oh, you're playing in an hour?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, I'm excited. No, I don't mean you're gonna lose. I guess what I mean is like I don't think you're gonna lose. I think you got this.
Yeah.
But I think that the decks that can ramp up get to this reliably, a 5 power airborne beater. Can you imagine? Just like it's hard to think about because we don't see the Manticore being played. but the mobility of Avatar of Air is so annoying, like the airborne stuff. This can block anything Avatar of Air has and can get in for damage. And if you this is the kind of card that goes well with your Sugar Plum Fairies and your
Mm-hmm.
Guinevere and your
This is the
Manticore. Like
yeah,
yeah, untapping at the end of turn. Ooh, yeah.
and
No,
leaving up a
5 power.
blocker.
Like Amazon Warriors is so good because it's 5 power and it's tutorable. This one's not tutorable, but it's better than Amazon Warriors. I love my fat bottom girls, but this is great.
Yeah,
I think B, but
I
I'm
think
okay with A.
airborne is better than you think. I guarantee it.
It's not. It's not. It's not the stat line I'm worried about. It's the 6 mana cost.
Oh,
Right. I
yeah.
think when you get this out, it's cracked in half. But like, getting the 6 is
Well, I
you got
mean,
to survive.
like I think this goes in Geomancer easily.
It does. God,
Yeah,
I hate that deck.
it gets to 6 mana so consistently.
It does. You're right. Yeah, I think the decks that can play this, it's a staple in a house.